MAGA? Oh, MAGA. Let's talk. I heard that MAGA is having a civil war. That's what I heard. I heard MAGA's having a civil war. I heard MAGA's having a tough time dealing with the Nazis. Oh, the same people that I warned you about? I told you about Nick Fuentes, didn't I? I warned you about courting people like Tucker, like freaking Tucker, didn't I? I told you about ignoring all these sheriffs, didn't I? Oh, MAGA, you having a civil war? You having problems, MAGA? Come on, bring on the MAGA folks. I want to talk to the MAGA folks. That's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to the MAGA folks. MAGA, y'all letting little ass, shrivel up, skinny ass Nick Fuentes cause a civil war amongst your ranks. MAGA, let's talk MAGA. Is this making America great? Is this making America great again? MAGA, I'm just curious. Is this making America great again, MAGA? I gotta know, MAGA, is this making America great again? Because right now it seems like y'all having a war between Ben Shapiro, all the people who support Israel, and Nick Fuentes. It just seems like they're just having a struggle for the future of the party. It just seems like right now MAGA's having a real rough time, and y'all having a difficult time dealing with your Adolf supporters. You're freaking Adolf supporters. It seems like MAGA, y'all messed around and found out, huh? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. And now you got to explain to all your voters and to Israel and everybody else, why in the world do you have so many Adolf supporters in your ranks? You see, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You see, MAGA, let me explain to you how that works. Make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Make sure you guys share the stream. Give me a retweet on Twitter. Share the stream. I want everybody in here. I want MAGA in here. Get MAGA in here. That's who I want. I want MAGA. I want the Trump supporters. I want them in here because I want to talk to them about their belief systems and where their belief systems are leading. That's who I want to talk to. I want to know why in the hell is it that y'all ignored all the warnings? See, I told you that when you keep pushing white supremacy, eventually white supremacy is gonna freaking answer. I told you that when you sit there and you coddle racists like Nick Fuentes, eventually that's going to become a problem for you. I told you that if you kept pushing Nick Fuentes and you didn't call him out, eventually he's going to become mainstream. And when he becomes mainstream, it's going to be a reflection of all of you. All of you. Because guess who Trump invited to the freaking White House? Nick Fuentes. Guess who Trump has been coddling this whole time? Nick Fuentes. Guess who Trump has not been calling out this whole time? Nick Fuentes. And now you got people like Ted Cruz crying about Nazis in the freaking party. Oh dear, cry me a river. I'm like Justin Timberlake over here. Cry me a river. Cry me a river. You're crying about these hardcore right-wing, these far-right people in your party, and yet you did nothing but coddle them when given the opportunity. You see, black people like myself have been warning you again and again and again. You don't coddle these people. You don't give them safe refuge. You don't associate with them. You don't talk to them. You don't give them a platform. And what did Tucker do? Gave him a platform. What did Gavin Newsom do? He sat down with Charlie Kirk. That shows you where both sides are. That shows you where both sides are. That shows you. That shows you where both sides are. I told people to stop calling these racists, to stop calling these white supremacists. I told you that. And what did you do? You coddled them anyways. I want to talk to somebody from MAGA. Hey, somebody from MAGA, come on head up. Let's have a conversation. I mean, unless y'all scared, unless y'all petrified, I want to have a conversation with MAGA. And make sure you guys share the stream so that I can have that conversation. Because again, they're always talking about having conversations, right? They're always talking about, let's just talk. Well, let's just talk, MAGA. Let's talk when you are at your lowest. When you got to explain why in the world you got so many racists among your ranks. Let's talk, MAGA. Let's talk. Why is it that every time I turn around, there's some conversation amongst MAGA about their racists? There's certain conversations amongst MAGA about people who support Adolf and Stalin, hanging amongst their ranks. You're shocked by this. Let me give you a little story about why I'm not shocked by this. See, back in 2015, me and some of my friends had a battle with the alt-right, right? It was on YouTube. Had a buddy named Kraut. And there's a whole crew there. And we were trying to expose the alt-right for what they were doing. On YouTube, the fourth watch stream on one evening was an Andy Warski stream where they were talking about race and IQ. About us black people being less intelligent because we're black. YouTube allowed that. TikTok allowed this crap for the longest time by banning hashtags like hashtag black farmer. You got to use hashtag black farmers. Plural, not farmer, because that's been banned. For the longest time, you had hashtag Black Lives Matter that was banned on TikTok. And you're wondering how this crap spread. The counter messaging to that crap was being banned while the actual Yahtzee content, the Adolf supporters, the racists like Fuentes, they were allowed to keep posting and posting and posting. You had MAGA rappers on this very platform, TikTok, using the N-word openly. Meanwhile, you get struck, you get your channel struck down, your video struck down, your comment struck down if you dare respond to it. But they are allowed to be openly racist. You had people doing blackface right on this app and wasn't banned for it. Meanwhile, if you make a mean comment that hurts a white person's feelings, community guidelines strike. So our humanity is not protected, but white feelings are protected. And that is MAGA in a freaking nutshell. And now you're wondering, why in the world do you have so many Adolf supporters running among you? You know, I made a video earlier, and I'm going to say to white people, it's not completely your fault. You had some of the non-white collaborators, the natives. When you were banning black people and you were supporting racists, you have native people right now with Confederate flags in their homes. With Confederate flags in their fucking homes. Oh, you didn't know that? You didn't know during the American Civil War, a lot of native tribes actually supported the freaking Confederacy? Go look up the freaking book called Choctaw Confederates. Go look it up. A lot of native tribes actually supported the freaking Confederacy. A lot of people don't know that. So it wasn't just white people who led up to this current situation that we find ourselves in now. You see, even now you've had native tribes kicking out black people. Black people gotta actually sue to get their membership back into the actual tribes. And you want to know why the freaking natives did that? One, because they're racist. A lot of them are. Not all of them. I wouldn't even say most, but enough for it to matter. First thing is remove us from the membership roll so that when you get benefits and goodies and land, you don't have to share with the black people that you already didn't fucking like. And then aside from that, also for casino profits. Casino profits, yeah. See, a lot of that whole modern day, see, the native tribes always tried to remove their black members, but it really ramped up during the late 70s into the early 80s when those first native casinos started popping up. And if you Google it, if you go to your Google AI right now or Chat GPT, ask it one question. Did native tribes remove black natives for casino profits? And you'll be shocked at the actual answer. And then also ask it to provide sources. And then go look up the actual sources. You will find what I'm saying is only what my grandmother said. My grandmother told me that my entire life. She says, you know, the reason why they don't think black people are the actual natives is because the native tribes have went out of their way to include white people with the $5 Indian nonsense, and then on top of that to make sure we are never recognized, because the red natives want to be seen as the noble person, as the ultimate purveyor of oppression, instead of being seen as a collaborator with freaking white supremacy. See, I want to ask you a question, right? If you know $5 Indians existed, and $5 Indians, if you don't know what that is, at one point you had white folks who could pay $5, just $5, to be classified as a so-called Indian. Right? So you get modern day white people, whenever we speak about reparations, right? About getting compensated for what our ancestors went through and us building this whole nation and never being compensated, even though slave masters, right? Even though slave masters were compensated. Whenever we have those kind of discussions, have you noticed how it's always somebody who just pops up and says, well, I'm Native and I should get it or you shouldn't get it. And they always look white. They always look white. Have you noticed that some of the Native chieftains are actually Asian? And some of them white? I'm talking about, when I say white, I'm talking about Justin Timberlake white. I'm talking about Ed Sheeran white. I'm talking about, oh my God. I want you to notice, right? You've had so-called natives featured in commercials in the 70s. There was this one guy named Iron Eyes Cody. Iron Eyes Cody, he was a fake native, right? A fake native who was featured in commercials during the mid to late 70s. And he was a guy who was riding a horse and he had that single tear. Like he was crying because people were polluting, right? And coming to find out, Iron Eyes Cody was not a real native. He's actually Italian. And the whole country believed that mofo was native. That shows you right there that your perception of what a freaking native is warped. Real natives are dark, like me. Are you not noticing that all the uncontacted tribes, have you noticed how dark they are? Look at North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island, right? All those black people who be throwing spears and shooting off arrows and stuff. Anytime someone shows up, have you noticed how dark they are? They darker than fucking me. And yet those are some of the oldest civilizations. They've been there since at least Alexander the freaking Great. Alexander the Great wrote about them. He said, do not go there. They've been there at least since then, and most likely a lot earlier. And yet native tribes right here will say there were no black natives, which makes no damn sense. How does that make sense? If you are along the freaking equator, dark skin is not an adaptation to freaking hot weather. That is not true. Dark skin is an adaptation for freaking ultraviolet UV radiation. That's why along the equator line, you notice everybody's usually pretty freaking dark. So if the Americas actually fall on the actual equator, how in the hell can you say there were no black natives? That makes no sense. I've already proven there were black natives, right? I've already proven that. Number one, I proved that because number one, everything that gets hit with ultraviolet UV radiation at the levels that the African continent and several other parts of the world were being hit with, all of those species, including humans, became dark skinned. I proved that by using modern day studies. There's two studies that were conducted in the Ukraine at Chernobyl. One was the black fungi study. The other one was the black bird study. What they were finding was where you find the highest levels of freaking radiation, you actually find those animals, birds and fungi, will turn completely black. Completely black. In fact, the fungi there, I can't remember the freaking name, it actually eats radiation. The only thing on this planet that has shown to be able to not only resist radiation, but convert it to energy, to food, is dark melanin, my dark pigmentation. You have native tribes here who will sit here and deny the black ancestry of their own people, and yet you go over to the freaking British, they found Cheddar Man. Cheddar Man is a freaking fossil that is thousands of years old that proves that at one point all white people in fucking Europe were dark skinned, darker than me. The Natural History Museum proved that. They proved that. They said he was not a slave and he was not a traveler from Africa. He was indigenous. So if white people look like Cheddar Man, what the hell do you think the average red native here look like? Huh? See, a lot of people don't be thinking, man. A lot of people say a lot of nonsense. And hold on. The Sleepy Saint. I want you to join. I want you to come on here and have a conversation. If I'm so wrong, let's have a conversation.
What's good?
Hey, I need you to hop on camera, man.
What's good?
So what did I say that was wrong or made me trip? I'm just
Black.
curious.
You said that there were black natives in America. That's not true.
Okay. Do you know when I say America, I include all of the Americas? So you are already wrong.
Means? Do you know what black means?
Sir, I asked you a question.
What does black mean?
No, sir, I'm going to mute you because I just asked you a question. You're not going to come on my platform and start doing that. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you aware, sir, are you aware there were black natives in the Americas? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so there were no black natives in America. Okay,
no,
so
because black means
sir.
How you going to invite me up here?
I asked you, sir. No. You're not going to just do that. It's just not your platform, sir. It's not your platform. I'm asking the questions here. It does matter, sir. It does matter. It does matter. It's my platform, sir. No, you're not going to do that. I asked you a question. You're going to answer a question. You're not going to just talk over me. Well, you know how I ask a question like, well, do you know what black means? Sir, I asked you a question. Are you saying there were no black natives? So you've never heard of the freaking Oaxacan tribe? You never heard of them? So who are the Oaxacans then? In Mexico. Where do Mexicans get their melanin from? Right? Where do Mexicans get their melanin from? Look it up. Look it up. You may find it comes from Africanoid genes. It comes from Africanoid genes. If I bring you back up, right, and I ask you questions, next time I'm going to ban you. Okay? So we're going to bring you up again. We're going to try it one more time. You will show respect on my freaking platform or you're going to get booted off.
Ooh, okay.
Sir, first off, I'm being very courteous to you. I only asked you questions to begin with. Then you started getting a little bit combative. Okay?
It's not combative.
Sir. Once again, you got combative. So I want to ask you this question again. Are you aware of the black natives in South America and not only North America? Were you aware of this?
There is no black natives in America.
Okay. Well, let me correct you. Okay. So hold on. You said that there were none. So let me correct you. There's one tribe. I mean, there's many tribes, but there's one in particular called the Oaxacans in Mexico. Are you aware of them?
I know of the Oaxacan tribe in Mexico, but that tribe has no sub-Saharan descent.
Sir, everyone has sub-Saharan. Everyone comes from sub-Saharan Africa, but they've been there for thousands of years.
That does not make them black.
Sir, when I go to that place and they look just like me, in fact, many of them claim to be black. They say that they're black and they look just like me. Are you saying those people are not black?
You have direct sub-Saharan descendants.
Sir, everyone has direct sub-Saharan descendants. Do you deny that? Sir, everyone has sub-Saharan descendants. Or do you deny that?
No, everybody. Life started in Africa.
Right. So understand something. Where does the melanin in Mexican skin, where does it come from? Answer directly.
What do you? What does it come from? It comes from.
I asked you a question, sir. Sir, I asked you a question.
I'm answering the question. It comes from the.
Do you know?
From the equator. I just told you.
No. Wrong.
No.
Wrong.
Wrong.
I did a whole deep dive about it. I talked to actual researchers. Did you actually watch my freaking?
So once again, right.
So, sir. Hold on. Wait. You said something wrong. Let me correct you. The melanin in their the melanin in their skin. It comes from sub-Saharan Africa. Okay? That's where it comes from, right? Because understand something, right? When you come from that actual equator line, right? A lot of those tribes were African in nature. They just don't seem that way because it's the modern day.
How are they African in nature? Can you explain how they got?
Sir, first off, you said that there were no native tribes in the Americas. That was wrong, sir. That was wrong. You were just flat out wrong.
No, okay? You're wrong,
sir. You're not going to sit here and you're not going to sit here and just erase people because you don't want to. Sir, you're not going to erase people, sir. Sir, I'm going to tell you one more time. Calm yourself down. Take your levels down. Take your levels down.
You keep trying to mute me.
Take it down because I'm trying to interject when you're saying wrong stuff.
No, you're saying the wrong definition of the word black.
One more time, sir.
You're older than me and you don't know what the definition of black is?
Sir, that is a non sequitur. We're not talking about that.
Right? How? In the word black means
I know what black is, sir, but you have not answered my question directly.
You're saying that they're black natives, meaning they're sub-Saharan African natives.
Sir,
what are you talking about?
We're not going to go back and forth. It's my platform. I'm going to ask you again. Are you denying that the Oaxacans are black?
Excuse me?
Are you saying that they are not black?
I'm saying that they are not.
Now answer the fucking question, sir.
Direct descendants from Africa.
Answer the question. No. Bye. I cannot talk to someone who just can't answer questions. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? That is some serious cool energy. There's no black people in Mexico. There's no black people in North America or South America. What? There was no what? You're saying the Oaxacans who look just like me, they aren't black. Do you I cannot do raccoons. I cannot do raccoons. No. And you can take your fans with you. Anybody, Maz, you see any raccoonery, right? Kick them out. In fact, let me go ahead and give some people mod powers. AI, let me get you the mod powers, man. There we go. Exactly. You gotta learn history, man. Listen, you got folks here talking about there were no black Mexicans. Then where did the Mexicans get the melanin from? Do you think gumbo is Mexican? Right? Do you think gumbo is Mexican? No. You go down to freaking Brazil, samba music. That is not Brazilian. That's African. That's black. What are you talking about? You just acknowledged well, it's along the equator line. Then what do you think those people look like? Are you saying that there were no black people in some of the Caribbean islands? Is that what you're saying? Because that sounds crazy. Because science has already proven that's not true. See, this is the kind of coon stuff I'm talking about, man. And I guarantee you, he did not come from my freaking lineage. In fact, I kind of know he didn't because I briefly looked at his page on my other phone I have in my hand here. And that dude is from freaking Jamaica. You see what I mean now? You see why there's a MAGA civil war? Oh, I know where he came from because one, his accent, and two, I checked his freaking page. He's Jamaican. Sir, you are not even American. How in the hell do you even know anything about anything? And here you are back in my chat. Sir, you are Jamaican. Get off my account. You see this? This ship didn't just stop in Americas. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is that what you'll find amongst a lot of these tethers, right? A lot of these tethers, they do this stuff, right? They do this stuff. They'll sit there and they'll cosplay as us. Because especially on TikTok, you'll find a lot of these people who will put up the Black American Heritage flag. They'll claim to be from South Carolina. They'll claim to be from freaking North Carolina. They'll claim to be from Chicago, or they'll claim that their ancestors were freaking slaves. Again, they love saying that, right? My ancestors were slaves. And then you ask, okay, but where? Where from? Right? And they never expound upon that. But notice how he denied their blackness, because where he comes from, right? They have this whole skin bleaching, skin whitening shit. Whereas they will deny, right? They will deny what other people are going through. And my thing is that that's what helped a lot of this white supremacy stuff happen. Because see, in their homelands, they will cut each other's throats. They'll bash each other over the freaking head, and in their particular homelands, they do skin bleaching. So the idea that there was blackness anywhere bothers them. It bothers them. See? And y'all wondering why we got a freaking delineation movement here. Exhibit A. Exhibit A. How do you want me to identify with someone like that? What the hell are you going to build with someone like that who will deny the blackness of other people? And I got another Haitian here. Oh, hush. It's my live, girl. It's my live. See, a lot of people from different parts of the African diaspora, when FBA is a foundation of Black Americans, when we speak out, they see it as a threat to them. Oh, don't rock the boat. Oh, don't get no good troubles now. That coon energy. See, when I come with a certain energy, notice how he tried to overpower me. Because again, the coon realizes that my kind of energy is infectious. You can't have all these other black people in America rising up like I am, because then it's going to make him look bad. Wait a minute, in your home country, we are only actually, we're not 12, 13% of the population. We're actually 14.4 to 16% of the population, according to the Pew Research Center. But in your home country of Jamaica, in your home country of Haiti, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, you outnumber people 10 to 1. You outnumber the white people, and they run you. They run you. They run you. They don't run us, though. That's what bothers you. That's what bothers you. It bothers you because you had to actually flee and come over here to be up under us, because we know how to freaking fight and not bow down to the white man. They run you. Hell, you talking smack to us. I've seen Nigerians talk smack to us. No offense, but ain't they gonna get at you? Yeah. Seem like it. I mean, you got people talking all kinds of smack. You got Jamaicans talking smack. Oh, you black Americans complain about EBT and food stamps. You black Americans complain about EBT and food stamps. Excuse me, Jamaicans, y'all complain about Red Cross food, right? Y'all complain about Red Cross food. Yeah, because if your little island had a little hurricane, but you're sitting here making fun of us because we're talking about EBT. Meanwhile, you're sitting there making it popping with damn Red Cross rice. Red Cross rice and beans, baby. Red Cross tacos. Red Cross fish surprise, baby. Red Cross tuna, Red Cross spam, Red Cross oodles and fucking noodles. But you gonna sit here and talk shit to me about food stamps? Excuse me, quiet as kept. A lot of people who end up on food stamps, a lot of you. See, a lot of people come over here with this whole fucked up mindset of we are better than the Okada, the Yankee, the Jareer. See? A lot of y'all come over here with that fucked up ass mindset. And then when you come over here, what ends up happening is, because the white supremacists know you have that fucked up mindset, what they'll do is that they will use you. They will use you. And then what ends up happening is when your little island gets a freaking hurricane, the main people who you got smoke for are people like us. Meanwhile, the people who colonize you are the white folks. See, over here in America, our black men will smash a white woman, even give them babies. Meanwhile, in your country, you're getting screwed with no lube. Big difference. Big difference. Big difference. See, you talking smack to me, talking about how good you got it and how you work hard, how you do it. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. See, I own all this. This is actually a farm. I own all this shit. All this is mine. See, all these others who come over and say, what have you built? What have you built? I built a whole functioning livestock farm. I can tell you that much. A whole functioning livestock farm. I did that shit. I mean, did you do that? I'm a black farmer in a country that has historically tried to prevent black farmers from even them existing. So my existence alone is making white supremacy upset. Meanwhile, you sitting here eating damn Red Cross, red beans and rice as a goddamn Jamaican talking shit to me. Meanwhile, that's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all sitting here, let me get this straight. For the longest time, right, you had these Nigerians, right? For the longest time, you had these Nigerians. And people always make these little backhanded compliments. They would say things like, oh, the Nigerians are the smartest black people in the country. Oh, they are the most educated. They have so many more degrees than freaking black Americans. And people love saying that. People love saying that. People love saying that. They said it for years. The freaking Nigerians, they have financial success. They said that for the longest time. And I guarantee you right now, all of that financial success, all the education, all them jobs, I work hard, none of that shit matters when Donald Trump decides to invade Nigeria to protect Christians. How does all those degrees help you now? Huh? How does all that coonery help you out now, huh? Tell me. Tell me. I'm very curious. Ooh, I want to know. I want to know. See, a lot of you have this idea that you ain't OJ. You see, Jay-Z, when he put out that song called The Ballad of OJ, he said light, dark, rich, poor, still Nick. I ain't black, I'm OJ. Latino community, you're OJ. Hispanic community, you're OJ. Red natives, you're OJ. Asian community, the modern minorities, you too are OJ. Yeah, you too. And all that led up to Nick Fuentes. You wondering why someone like Nick Fuentes can rise when you just heard that coon say that there was no black people in Mexico. No black people in North America that are indigenous. You heard this, Coon. I sat there and said Cheddar Man was an ancient British fossil. They mapped out his genome. The Natural History Museum mapped out his genome. He was a dark-skinned man, darker than me. And yet the red natives think they didn't start off like that. How do you want me to work with that level of coonery? If a black man is doing this stuff from a different part of the freaking African diaspora, right? If a black man from a different part of the African diaspora is doing this crap, then explain to me how exactly do you want me to work with these people, huh? How? How would you like for me to work with these people? What do you want me to do with these people? Because again, the whole delineation movement, I respect it because it's an acknowledgement, right? That there's no fixing it. Nick Fuentes, you see, the reason why I'm linking that to the so-called people of color coalition is because Nick Fuentes is Hispanic. Nick Fuentes is Hispanic, and for the longest time, black Americans have been telling people the Hispanic community has a problem with freaking white supremacy. And what were we told? You remember the LA City Council? Remember when that was exposed in LA? We had the LA City Council with Nuri Martinez and Kevin De Leon and so many others. They were talking all that smack about black people, calling the little black boy all those little horrible names. And then Nuri Martinez was talking about the Oaxacans, and she called the Oaxacans the ugly Mexicans because they're black. They're dark skinned. That's why she called them that. See, I'm married into a freaking Mexican family, so I know. Most of the family is black as hell, so I know. They have certain slurs for black people in Spanish that are said often in Mexico. If there wasn't a problem with black people in Mexico, why do you have terms like mejora la raza, which means to improve the race in Spanish or lighten the race? If there wasn't a problem with blackness. You don't do that with just natives. You don't do that with just Hispanics. Because you see people like Nick Fuentes, people like Enrique Tarrio, who actually started the freaking Proud Boys, or Stephen Rhodes with the Oath Keepers. His mother is freaking Hispanic. What you're finding is that they don't care if a Hispanic person looks Hispanic, so long as they are team white supremacy. The same way as white supremacy didn't care if you have a bunch of Asians. There are a lot of Asian anti-black people in this country, and white supremacy doesn't care because they are useful tools. They don't care what you look like. I mean, look at Candace Owens. Look at how many people watch Candace Owens. Does it matter what you look like? No. So long as you toe the line, it doesn't matter. In fact, Black Lavender Gaming says, heck, watch their TV stations, all the women light skin, blonde hair. Yeah, in Mexico and in South America, there's a real problem with colorism. And it's mainly because of the black genes. When anybody has any kind of black in them, you'll notice a high degree of colorism. In fact, during 2020, when you had the George Floyd protests, a lot of the protests was actually giving energy to some of the black people in Mexico, and they were using energy here to have conversations about colorism. I don't know where that conversation is now in Mexico, but it was happening. It was happening. In fact, when you get like the guy who was just up, right? When you get a lot of these black people who are from like these Caribbean islands, what you find is that a lot of them either identify with the British or the freaking Spaniards. Like when you go over to like Haiti, right? When you go over to the freaking Haiti, or much more commonly in the Dominican Republic, what you'll find is that a lot of them will identify more with the Spanish than black. It's a weird thing. They'll look black as hell, but they'll identify with freaking Spanish. I've seen it. I married into that kind of family. I will tell you that my wife's great grandmother is darker than my grandmother. Yeah. And they're all from damn Mexico. Yeah, it is that serious. You know, and what I find so amazing, about the rise of Nick Fuentes and the rise of these far right Adolf lovers, these goose stepping far right Yahtzee types. The thing that I find the most amazing is that every other group out there is claiming to not have any kind of responsibility. Are you noticing that? Are you noticing that the people who are targeted the most by people like Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk and Tucker and freaking Tucker Carlson and so many others, we are the most targeted, right? And we're the ones who fight back the hardest. But in the midst of fighting, you'll find coons and you'll find these people of color who step in to show us that we are all by ourselves. See, that's the tragedy of 2020. I noticed then you had a lot of white people, a lot of Asian people, and especially a lot of Hispanic people putting Black Lives Matter on their social media profiles. Putting Black Lives Matter. They were just spamming it, making all kinds of videos. You had people on YouTube like Markiplier, the half Asian guy who's putting out videos, and you had all these YouTube commitments. You had Target making all kind of commitments to the black community. You had Walmart. You had Best Buy. You had so many people, right? Who were cosplaying as our allies, who were saying, we hear you. We understand your struggle. And what you know is they ain't give up no damn money, but they gave a lot of platitudes. And the tragedy of 2020 is that a lot of black people fell for that. I was saying then for the longest time, and I was being called xenophobic. I was being called a bigot. I said, hey guys, listen, this is a great kumbaya moment. Sounds fantastic. But there's some underlying issues here we have to settle. Like, for example, between black Americans and Africans. A lot of them have a problem with us. Black Americans and Hispanics, a lot of them have a problem with us. In fact, I would argue the Hispanic community has become the new face of white supremacy, thanks to Nick Fuentes. You know, when I said that 4 years ago, I had another channel. I said that 4 years ago, and one of the first strikes that I got on TikTok was because of that video. When I said that the Hispanic community has become the face of white supremacy. And people called me a bigot then. They said that I was crazy. I was imagining things. I was just being a victim. And now when you look at Nick Fuentes, I'm going to say his last name again. Fuentes! Was I wrong? Was I wrong? Say what you will, but answer the question. Was I wrong? You look at the deputy gang situation in California and across the country. You have deputy gangs. You have law enforcement officers who are in gangs, deputy gangs. Yeah, they have their own colors, their own call signs, their own hand signals, all that stuff. A lot of these gangs in law enforcement, and across the country, they ain't even white. They're Hispanic. In fact, there's some deputy gangs in California who are entirely Hispanic. I was saying that then. And I want you to notice how many people gaslit me. How many people said, oh no, don't rock the boat. Why are you causing problems amongst allies? Because they're not allies. I sat there and I tried to explain to people, the LA riots that happened with Rodney King. A lot of people thought that it was just Rodney King that caused that whole thing to go down. No, it was the shooting of 9-year-old Natasha Harlan. She was shot by an Asian store owner, and the Asian store owner didn't get any jail time. Got a slap on the wrist. The Asian store owner accused that little girl of shoplifting. The little girl was not shoplifting, and the Asian store owner shot a 9-year-old girl. Nothing happened. So when you had the so-called rooftop Koreans shooting at black people for trying to get at them over that, and also supporting a lot of the local businesses and a lot of the Asian community supported that woman, now you get the context. Now you get the context. It wasn't about Rodney King as much as about Natasha Harlan, and that Rodney King was the pivotal incident that pushed it over the edge. But you saw even back then, the Asian community, how much of allies they truly were. Don't you find it strange how in Massachusetts, right? No, in freaking Boston, the Boston mayor, I think her name is Michelle Wu, Asian woman, right? And yeah, you talk to any NBA player, you talk to any black person, right? Right? In Boston, they'll tell you about all the anti-black racism. How can that be? Ain't your mayor an Asian? But then you remember Natasha Harlan, you remember some of the rooftop Koreans, you remember some of the model minority activity. You look at Michelle Wu and some of the things that she said versus what she's actually done for black people. Well, then it makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. See, the rise of Nick Fuentes, I just want to drive this home. The rise of Nick Fuentes has little to do with Nick Fuentes as much as it does with everyone who enabled him. See, Nick Fuentes by himself, if he just came out spewing all this Nazi shit, nobody would have taken him seriously. But that wasn't the point of him being featured on Tucker. That wasn't why he was invited to the freaking White House. That wasn't why he was actually courted by Charlie Kirk at one point. They were good friends at one point until they became enemies. That isn't why Britt Baker is defending him right now. It's this little right-wing white girl. All right? That's not the reason why. The reason for all that was to make Nick Fuentes' beliefs palatable. Make them acceptable. See, all the African immigrants coming over here calling us Akata and Jareer, Yankee, a B, all these pejoratives, the Hispanic community with their anti-black racism, the Asian community with their model minority mentality, the Jewish community, even some of the Middle Easterns, we go over to Palestine, right? And you had a bunch of Palestinians who were racist, calling black people all kind of names. And we were told to not make it about us. We're helping you. You call us names. And when we complain, we're making it about us? Really? Now, the Jewish community, yeah, I got to say, a lot of them too. Prime example, Ben Shapiro, the most prominent Jewish voice in the whole country. You look at Israel. I have tried my best to tell people Israel and the Jewish people are not the same. And yet Israel has gone out of their way to make them seem the same. A lot of our government officials have went out of their way to make them seem the same. When you criticize Israel, your video gets flagged down because somehow you're being anti-Semitic. And you're not. You're just being honest. Prime example, Kyrie Irving retweets a post on Twitter. He's being made to apologize, pay all kinds of money. His career was in jeopardy. Meanwhile, Nick Fuentes has been saying the same shit over and over again directly. Sometimes on Twitter, you can just retweet something and not even look at it. Right? But then, Kyrie Irving, retweet. Nick Fuentes has said stuff like, Hitler was cool. He was kind of cool. He said that. Why is he not being made to apologize? Why is he not being made to, give up all this money and meet with freaking rabbis? Why is Kanye being made to meet with rabbis when Kanye has said nothing as bad as Nick Fuentes? Meanwhile, Nick Fuentes is being defended by the Heritage Foundation, the biggest right-wing political think tank in the country. And people are saying, the leader of the Heritage Foundation, he actually retracted. He's calling out anti-Semitism. Excuse me. That doesn't matter when your initial response was to support Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. Yeah, that was your initial response. You had several Jewish people defending Nick Fuentes. Make that make sense. But then again, you have Hispanic ICE agents. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you support ICE or not. When you have a Hispanic ICE agent, it's just weird, bro. It's just weird. Can we admit to that? It's just weird. I mean, I have a problem when people don't recognize the roles their communities play in all of this. When Israel is sitting there training the NYPD and training the LAPD and training Chicago PD and training, the Indianapolis police, NYPD, and the NYPD, at least up until now, has an office in Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv. And some of the same tactics the police use on us to brutalize black people, they learned in freaking Israel. They learned that shit in Israel. And we paid for it. We paid for those officers to fly over there, get trained by the IDF in how to brutalize people. And that's why a lot of black people here, when we saw what was happening to the freaking Palestinians, a lot of us had an emotional reaction because it looked so familiar. The reason why it looked so damn familiar is because it was the same training that's used on us here. Except when we were saying it, we were told to not make it the oppression Olympics. We were told to shut up, stop complaining, let things go. Don't cause problems amongst allies. Just vote. Just vote. Well, can we vote to not be brutalized? Just vote. But the Palestinians, they complain about being oppressed, and they were oppressed. They still are being oppressed. The problem that a lot of us in Black America has is the sense of urgency, right? We got firebombed too. We've been brutalized too. Falsely imprisoned, lied upon, lied on. Our history, you have people who are attempting to erase our very history on these lands. And they've been doing it for generations and you had no issue with it. But the first time that you get social media, the first time you get a TV, the first time you get the freaking internet, and it's forced in front of your face, now you either don't want to see it or you can cry about it and virtue signal about it on social media because it's nowhere near you. The same white allies who sit there and talk about Palestine, it's what Israel's doing to freaking Palestine is horrible. If the same thing were happening to black people here, they wouldn't give a shit. They wouldn't give a shit. It's all about proximity. It's all about proximity. People can virtue signal about something when it's directly in their face and they can't look away, or when something is really, really far away. I find it interesting. And I remember Cecil the lion. Do you remember Cecil the lion? The lion that got shot by the hunter? You had so many people around the world who were so upset about Cecil the lion. Meanwhile, George Zimmerman, right, is still walking free. He's signing Skittle bags to mock Trayvon Martin. But you're telling me about Cecil the fucking lion. Yeah. When you dehumanize a people like that, and you continue it for so long, you just keep doing it over and over and over again. Don't be shocked when you get Nazis like Nick Fuentes. Don't be shocked. When your whole mode of operation is to silence people who have been oppressed, people like me who have been asking for freaking reparations, for land grants, for tangibles and compensation for my people for what we've actually experienced here as slaves, and even after slavery, slave masters got freaking compensated. Why didn't we? When you dehumanize those people and make fun of us, right? And make fun of us for just asking for justice, you invite Nazis. When you dehumanize me for just wanting compensation from my people, you invite Nazis. When you push for laws that unfairly target my people, you invite Nazis. Yeah. You see, people always use the whole saying, first it was these people, and then it was you. First it was black people. See, that was a whole insulting part from the Hispanic community. Don't worry, black people, you're next. We were first. And what did you say then? You said, "Mejora la raza," improve the race. We want to be light skinned. That's what you said. If that's going to be your response, don't be shocked when you get Nazis. QB says, hey, Hoodoo, did you hear Mondani's speech? I did. He said immigrants built the country. Nonsense. But again, he's an immigrant. Of course he's going to say that. You expect a non-immigrant to speak up for us? To correct the history? Mondani is just he's not a bad guy. But of course he's going to say that. It's not true. But of course he's going to say that. I would expect him to. I mean, that's been a mode of operation. And yet, when you say stuff like that and you attempt to erase people like me, don't be shocked when you get Nazis. See? I don't have no smoke for that man. I have no problem with that man. Congratulations to him. I'm glad Andrew Cuomo didn't win. And you're right, the jury is still out on him. I don't trust him, but I'm glad Cuomo didn't win. I'd rather it be Mamdani than goddamn Cuomo. or for that matter, Eric Adams. My God, the tap dancing from that man. Shit. And on top of that, I do appreciate the man is young. He's 34 years old, because these dinosaurs in politics, man, my God. I'm glad that he's not 80 years old, because Lord knows the president, he has to go. Shit. I mean, I have a hard time believing that you understand what I'm going through when you haven't had a child in like 30 years. Okay, I can at least believe Mondani understands something that I'm going through. He's younger than me. All right, I can at least believe that for a second. I don't trust him, but I'll take him over freaking Cuomo. Cuomo let a bunch of old people pass away in freaking nursing homes. He tried to modify the freaking numbers. No, he had to go. And the other guy with the freaking red beret, wasn't he like an anti-black racist? He was like beating up black people as like a vigilante or some shit. Yeah, that if I had a choice, you know, even if Mondani wasn't the greatest guy in the world, and he don't seem that bad. That one thing he said, I don't appreciate that shit, but he don't seem that bad. But even if he was a little bad, he was good compared to, you know, the other crap, because that was terrible. Lord, but the whole point of the stream was to explain to people how a lot of the erasure of black people, the pushing of anti-black laws, the ignoring of these anti-black racists within the freaking Hispanic community, the red natives, the Asian community, how all of that culminated into what we have now, a bunch of Nazis. When you as a country have spent centuries dehumanizing the people and never compensating them, and yet encouraging immigrants to also discriminate against the exact same group, do not be shocked when you get Nazis. We were warning you about Nick Fuentes for the longest time, and because his last name was Fuentes, he had a little bit of cover. See, a lot of the Hispanic community, you voted for Trump because you thought Trump was going to target how did Nuri Martinez say it? Nuri Martinez, she said the ugly Mexicans or the black people. You thought Trump was going to target just the black people and not you, because you identify as white. A lot of Hispanic people identify as white. A lot of Mexicans identify as white, even though they ain't white. They on their birth certificate it says white for some reason. See, you spent all that time protecting people like Nick Fuentes, shouting us down when we were simply calling him out, and you're wondering why now he has prominence. The reason why he has prominence is not because the right is so racist. They've always been racist. They've always been fascist. They've always been like that. They've never changed. The reason why it's happening is because you ran cover for him. You ran cover for him. That's why he's here. Yeah. When you had black people saying, hey, guys, listen, we were all black at one point. We all was out of Africa. There were black neighbors. There were black natives in South America, North America. They were all over the place. Along the equator line, you're gonna see black people. We all knew that. And Nick Fuentes is the perfect embodiment of a Hispanic man who wants to be white and deny the Africanoid genes that gives Mexicans and so many people of the Spanish-speaking world their melanin. Nick Fuentes is the perfect embodiment of all that. His last name is Fuentes, but he's talking about preserving white culture. And that black coon you had show up here trying to bait me, right? You don't see the problem in him now? If it were known that we were all black at one point, especially in freaking South America, Nick Fuentes doesn't have as much steam. But because of coons like that who don't even come from my damn lineage, coons like that, we have Nick Fuentes. People that are so ashamed to be black, they will deny the blackness, the freaking blackness of others. And you're wondering why we have Nick Fuentes? The black person I'm talking about is the one I had up on the stream earlier, right? We still have Candace Owens. Yeah, that one too. That one too. It's all the so-called people of color, the non-black allies, those people. That's why you have Nick Fuentes. White supremacy never went away, but someone who is open as Nick Fuentes, they ain't being as open and that's prominent and that's well publicized and promoted on different shows like this before. So why is it so different now? I mean, Fuentes, he wasn't prominent during the last Trump administration. He wasn't prominent under Biden. Why now? Because now is a pivotal time. White people are panicking about their numbers, and the coonery and the Asian, Hispanic, a lot of Jewish, a lot of Middle Eastern, like Palestinians, a lot of other people who have pushed this stuff for the longest time, the chickens have finally come home to roost. You want to know why we have Nick Fuentes? That's why. Yeah, I wouldn't even say Gamergate, because someone like Nick Fuentes, he wasn't prominent during Gamergate. No. What it leads back to is coonery and the so-called non-black ally. The red native who's still kicking out black people and had to get sued to let black people in. The Hispanic who wants to be white. The Asian who wants to be white. The Middle Easterner who has always had some fucked up beliefs about black people. The Jewish person who denies some of the racism within their own community. The African immigrant who's told stay away from the freaking Akata, the Abid, the Jareer, the Yankee. Y'all caused the rise of Nick Fuentes, and the only people who've been fighting it is us right here in Black America. We tried to warn you, don't play with Nazis. Don't play with fascists. Don't play with freaking white supremacists. And what did you do? You fucked around and found out. Boy. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Until next time, horns up, peace out. Good night. And for God's sakes, good luck.